This is in that zone where we have very unstable air. We are also watching that storm in Walthall County that's crossing Highway 48 right now. That will be moving out of our viewing area into Marion County before long. This storm looks quite small at this point. Hasn't really changed stature that much, but it has crossed 48. It's past Dexter and it's east of Tylertown. So this is going to move more into Marion County in the next few minutes. This is a tornado warning as well. But let's go back to Lincoln County and keep it just on this view here with radar, because I want to show folks in Brookhaven how close this storm is. Two things. You have a tornado warning now in effect. A potential tornado is located between Lloydstar and Cobbs and moving towards Brookhaven very quickly now at about 50 miles per hour. The other thing I want to tell you is that regardless of whether you get a tornado, this is a very intense wall of wind and water that is moving toward you right now. This is basically a line of storms, started out in southwest Mississippi. Elise and I were talking about this about an hour ago. We had a tornado warning on it briefly in Claiborne County. That storm weakened, but now this is strengthened again in this same little boundary area, the same little moist, unstable area, and that's where we're seeing this storm. So it's headed for Brookhaven. It will be over Brookhaven in less than 5 minutes. If you're in the Brookhaven area, or Wesson for that matter, up through about almost through Bogachita. What I want to tell you, Bogachita is just outside of the warning, but what I want to tell you, if you're in that Wesson and Brookhaven area, all right, take cover at this point. This is not a storm to play with. This is going to be a fierce storm regardless of whether you see a tornado or not. Arrival time now, Brookhaven, Hartman 354, NOLA 403, East Lincoln 407, Rosella 412, Monticello at 418. This area of thunderstorms will continue to move in from the west right now. We're hearing thunder.
We are,
hearing thunder
right
here.
overhead.
I thought I was hearing things, but we're getting thunder now in the metro area too. Let's go to Jackson, and there we go. The boundary is now starting to push across Interstate 20, which is what we were assuming would happen at some point today, and it's doing so with thunderstorms now. Can we put on lightning tracker just to show folks in the metro what's happening? But you're seeing some moderate rain now, Madison and Ridgeland. We're seeing some heavy rain over Clinton, back across the Forest Hill area, and the lightning's not that intense, but you can still see some thunderstorms around Pelahatchie, and all of this weather sweeping northeastward. So if you live in Hinds, Madison, or Rankin counties, thunderstorms are possible. These do not appear severe, but of course, if you're caught in this weather, you may disagree with me on that, but they don't qualify for the technical term of severe storms. But as this boundary lifts north, that's going to allow the potential for severe storms today. The other thing I want to point out is this is the back edge of the weather. Let's show folks where that back edge is. And this is it. It's along the Mississippi River just about. In fact, you make the argument that it's almost Belzona, Rolling Fork, over through Natchez. Natchez, you're back in the thunderstorms, but this won't last very long for you in Natchez. A lot of lightning, a lot of rain, a lot of wind. If you get a chance, at least, maybe we can pull up that Natchez cam. But bottom line is, that's where this front is. And that's going to continue to move eastward. The farther east this thing gets, the closer to an end our weather comes. And this is the view right now from Natchez. You can see the rain's coming down pretty hard, some wind-driven rain, but the traffic's still flowing off the 98 bridge there into town.
But I will say, typically you can see the bridge from this cam, and this would indicate pretty blinding rain. So something to keep in mind, especially for those people who are traveling in any of these storms.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hardly make it out, but it's there. I can barely see it faintly when I squint my eyes, but I know the bridge is out there nonetheless. But this is the view with the actual front coming through. I don't fear the front so much, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of lightning along it, but the front is welcome here because once the front moves through, okay, once this front moves through, that's it. The severe weather threat ends. So Elise and I feel pretty confident, if I could speak for you, Elise, we feel pretty confident that this is going to end the party here in the next 3 hours. because as that front moves eastward, it basically will take away all the instability. Behind it, there's nothing doing. You could see it's hardly any activity. So that's why we are watching this front very closely, because this tells us when the weather's going to end. Where the weather's still firing up, that obviously has us concerned, and that's why we're back in Lincoln County right now. We are tracking a tornadic thunderstorm. It is a tornado indicated by radar, currently just about over Brookhaven, moving northeast very quickly at around 45, 50 miles per hour. Communities included in the tornado warning would be Oma, the Georgetown area, Strong Hope, as well as Wesson and Brookhaven. These areas are imminently threatened by this storm. The NOLA community as well. And if we can maybe hit the wind on this a little bit, just to get an idea what some of the winds are coming out of the storm. But bottom line is, this is a thunderstorm that not only is capable of producing a tornado, but there are some damaging winds in here too, and some small hail. So a tornado warning currently in effect for that area. Wesson and Brookhaven, you're included in this as well as the Trias community and over through about Fair River and NOLA too. It is not for Hazelhurst though. That's the good news. We're just far enough out of it. And what Elise is doing right now, she's measuring winds along the storm, and we got a pretty hefty gust right there, about 50 miles per hour almost. These are estimated wind gusts. Keep in mind, we're also up in the atmosphere a little bit. So this doesn't always show what's really happening at the surface. That's one of the things about radar, is you're able to see everything that's going on in the air, and sometimes you kind of have to give up what you could see right at the surface by doing this. This is on top of what we would call surface observations, but bottom line is that is the kind of weather that's pushing through Brookhaven. We know if the storm is moving about 50 miles per hour, we're measuring winds about 50 miles per hour. That's the kind of wind gusts you're probably going to be getting. Could be worse, could be a little bit lower, but the bottom line is we're measuring those winds right now out there, and we put a little wind scan on for you. You could see southwest Mississippi definitely picking up those wind gusts right now, 30, 40 miles per hour, and you can see that that's where the heaviest winds are currently being felt in the southwest part of our state. Now, we've got our storm tracker, WLBT Storm Tracker 3, that is currently on its way to intercept the storm. It is actually just outside the tornado warning here. It's about to move into the tornado warned area, but it's in the worst of the weather now. WLBT's Quentin Smith is in the first alert storm tracker. And Quentin, why don't you tell us where you are? I think you're in Gallman right now, near the fairgrounds in Copiah County, and you're on I-55 or US 51. Why don't you clarify that for me and tell me what you see?
That's right, Dave. We're in Gallman right now. We're on Highway 51 heading south towards Hazelhurst. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see how things are looking. You can see real heavy rain right now, really blinding rain, if I'm being honest. That's how heavy the rain is coming down. It seems like the further south we travel, the heavier the rain is continuing to pour. And as you can see, there's actually a good number of cars out here in traffic. Despite the heavy rain, traffic is still flowing pretty smoothly. We haven't seen any cars on the side of the road. We haven't seen any down power lines or any down trees. Outside of the heavy rain, everything does appear to be normal in this area for right now. Again, this is Highway 51 south heading towards Hazelhurst. We're going to continue to remain on this route, and we'll keep you posted on how things are looking once we actually make it to Hazelhurst.
All right, keep us posted there and stay safe. I noticed quite a bit of branches on the road on US 51 there too, from his live shot. So we'll see what he encounters as he goes further south. We're looking at live radar right now. This is Brookhaven, and the actual storm is over Brookhaven now. It is currently moving over Brookhaven. So if you're in Brookhaven, and wow, it's a pretty good signature. Okay, so we have the best signature we've seen so far from this storm, and the best signature we've seen right today, Elise.
Absolutely.
This is showing the inflow and outflow of the winds. So we've got a pretty intense circulation now that is just over the north side of Brookhaven. Let me just tell you a little something. Here's the story. It could be off by a little bit. So this actually could be a little bit further south, a little bit. It's up in the air, but now we're getting 83 mile per hour wind gusts. So Elise, you were just showing us a couple minutes ago, right? Mm-hmm. You were just showing us a 47 mile per hour wind gust. And in less than 5 minutes, we went from that to now an 83 mile per hour wind gust.
I'll take you back a scan here on our our view.
I mean, this thing really just popped.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that is intense. We're still looking at this. We're still getting 62-mile-per-hour wind gusts. If I can get you to fiddle around there and hit a couple more spots on this particular storm, this is, again, there's another 80-mile-per-hour wind gust, a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. So if you've got 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, you've got the equivalent. That's 93. All right, so now we have EF0. We're getting into EF0. We're getting into EF1 as far as intensity matching. I'm not telling you there's an EF1 tornado on the ground. What I am telling you, though, is we are measuring EF0 type winds now in this area. Enhanced Fujita scale. When we measure tornadic winds, we do so based on the damage, and we also do it based on the miles per hour. And you can see in this case, we are getting very intense winds now on the north side of Brookhaven. So this is very close to US 51. And just bounded, can I go a little bit closer in? 93-mile-per-hour wind gusts, if I can just get you to bump it a little closer. So just get into town and show people. This is very close to the industrial park on the north side of town. All right, and this is moving northeastward. So we're very close to the industrial park, right in here. This is Old 51. This is US 51, just to give you an idea as to where we're bounded by. And this is where we have it. If I can get you to hit a couple more points and just see if we can get some additional wind measurements in here. But again, very high winds in this particular area now, as we've seen, over 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 63, 83 right there. Looks like it could be even a little bit higher over here by, what is that? I can't really see that. Brignall Road. I think it's Brignall Road. And then this is actually the Industrial Park Road northeast. So right in this area is where we're seeing, again, we're getting pretty decisive winds here. 82-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 61-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 79-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So we're using our wind measurement device here, our wind measurement tool, and we're estimating winds that are currently being reflected back on radar. And this is pretty intense stuff, folks. 93-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's what we've seen. And again, this is changing so quickly, we may be missing some of the activity in here, but we're right now in this very area of north. This is, okay, just moved a little bit farther out, just moved outside of Brookhaven a little bit more northeast, and the winds may have died down just a little bit. There was something there. Can I get you to hit a debris tracker real quick? And let's roll it back a little bit, make sure that we're not missing something in here either. What do you think? Kind of hard to see because you do have a strong area of thunderstorms moving in. So I wouldn't say it's anything too definitive, although obviously,
maybe this right here, and that would go hand in hand with the same scan. But it goes so quickly.
I know, and that's the thing. This storm's moving so quickly. It's moving, again, folks, it's moving about a mile a minute, just roughly a little bit less than that, maybe a mile every minute, minute and a half. So that's how quickly this thunderstorm is currently moving through Lincoln County, but we want to make sure that you're alert to what's going on. I got a little bit of a node here on the east part of the storm. That makes sense. That matches up with what we were just kind of looking at as well. So a tornadic signature showing up in Lincoln County right now that just moved over Brookhaven. If my folks in the back, if you can, let's make sure we're kind of working the phones here in Brookhaven and Lincoln County just to get an idea as to what's happening there. I know our storm tracker will be in this vicinity very shortly, but I would just like to make sure we're certain of that. So you can see around Wesson, we've got some activity there, and that storm continues to move northeastward. So this is the area that we're watching. This is Lake Lincoln State Park. Then you've got a little bit right there as well by the Carlos community, and this is moving northeast headed towards Strong Hope, this particular storm. So take it very seriously. It's a dangerous situation that's developing out there. Brookhaven over through Wesson right now and back through Cobbs. This is where we have this particular storm cell that is right now moving through the northern part of Lincoln County.
Yeah, and Dave, I've been looking now. Any storm, essentially, that is along that Highway 84 corridor or to the south has all the ingredients to be able to tap into to become severe or tornadic. We've had multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, and then we noticed a rotator. The National Weather Service saw this rotation and issued the warning for the storm that as it was pushing towards Brookhaven. But this is a huge cluster of thunderstorms, and any part of this line is severe and could become even more severe. So definitely take this seriously, even if you're under only the severe thunderstorm warning. That would be for Boca Chica, for Auburn, for Little Springs here, where it's right over you at the moment. Treat that as a tornado warning for now, because those winds are going to gust as high as 60 miles an hour. Fortunately, the storm we were tracking in Walthall County has moved on. It is out of Walthall County, but it has held together a little bit. It's no longer warned. It's moved on into Columbia, and I know that's out of our area, but we've got multiple more storms on our radar view. We can hear the rain here in Jackson. Nothing severe for now in the metro area.
But heavy rain for sure right over Jackson. If you live in Ridgeland or Madison, it's finally catching up, and now it's starting to move into Rankin County too. So Flowood and Pearl, as well as Florence and Brandon. Eventually, you're going to start getting that heavy rain. It looks like Florence, you're going to get the heavier batch of that heavy rain right now. Let's take a look outside. You can see this is the view, or the lack of a view, from our WLBT First Alert Tower Cam, and you can see there's not much out there except we're shrouded in the clouds and the heavy rain right now that's falling across the area. So that just shows you what it's like in the metro. But the most intense storm is right here near Brookhaven, and that's where we're looking at a very intense cell that just moved through Brookhaven, now near Strong Hope, and that's moving more northeastward towards the southern part of Copiah County here before long. I know we've got our WLBT First Alert Storm Tracker farther south now into Copiah County, getting closer to Brookhaven. I'm kind of curious to see what it may encounter when it arrives there, but these are the arrival times on the storm right now. 422 Rockport, New Hebron 430, Pinola 437, and you can see that Merritt is 442, and then Mendenhall is 446. So our storm tracker for WLBT First Alert Storm Tracker 3 is in Hazelhurst right now, working its way southward. And you can see that this is the view out there currently, just rain, just plain rain, as the worst of the weather has now moved through Hazelhurst and it is farther to the south and east. But you can see not a lot of traffic on the road this afternoon, that's for sure. It's typically a little busier on US 51, but that's the scene right now. A lot of folks are probably heeding advice and just staying put for the time being. But would you agree, Elise, this is probably where we have the tornadic cell, right?
Absolutely.
In that area of the northern part of Lincoln County. Let's go closer in on that. Just outside of Brookhaven, moving up through the Carlos community, that's Huck's Retreat Road, and this area as well, Morgan Lane. This is where we believe that thunderstorm, and it's just moving so quickly. Look at it, just keeps pushing farther and farther northeastward at about 45, 50 miles per hour, moving up to the north and east. Just want to ask you, Elise, if you've heard any or seen any reports in the chat of anything that came out of Brookhaven, because that looked pretty impressive there for a minute.
Not at the moment. I've been watching to see if anybody is going to put out any kind of report, but there are not any reports right this second. Let's see if we can get here to the bottom. Here's some wind damage that's in Franklin. Nothing for around Brookhaven at the moment. But this is definitely a hefty storm, and we're going to be tracking it closely as it continues to push on. The circulation, of course, not as strong, as vibrant as what we saw earlier.
New tornado warning. We have a new tornado warning going into effect right now. This is for Jefferson Davis County. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Elise. Absolutely. New tornado warning until 5 p.m. This will go for the southeastern part of Jefferson Davis County. This is that storm that we were just tracking. Remember, it moved over Columbia. Yep, started Walthall. Now it's in Columbia, and now it's going to cut across the southeastern part. This is, again, radar indicating rotation. So radar indicating rotation. This will be just outside Bassfield, but will include the Melba area. And if you remember correctly, we just had a tornado. Yeah. Last week, I think it was? They all blend together at this point, right? But last week, we had a very brief tornado. I think it was on the ground for 2 minutes. Very close to the Melba. Half a mile, is that what it was?
Yeah, half a mile.
And it was Highway 42, so the same exact area. So please be alert to that. If you live in southeastern Jefferson Davis County, a tornado warning has just been issued until 5 p.m. We're watching an intense thunderstorm now over Prentice. Prentice, you're getting in on the weather that's not considered, again, a technically severe storm, but a very intense storm nonetheless over Prentice right now, with very heavy rain and wind coming down from that.
Yeah, and of course, we're still tracking a lot of lightning. So Dave mentioned earlier, we look for an uptick in lightning And we're potentially tracking tornadoes. We've still got a decent little hook on this storm, and that's the one that's warned as a tornado. But you see all the lightning out ahead of where the hook is. And then same story for the back end of this sort of line of storms. Now the back of all the stormy weather is actually pushing through Natchez right now. And you may think, will the thunderstorms ever end in Natchez today? Because you've seen most of them push through, but this is the last batch that you're seeing right now, and that stretches from just south of Natchez through Fayette, through Port Gibson. I know we just did this a little while ago. They were severe thunderstorms when they were pushing through your area, and that is the line of storms that now has a warned tornado or a potential tornado warned around Brookhaven. Now, that's passed on beyond Brookhaven. You're still in the warning, but that is the line of storms that previously we were tracking from Natchez up to Port Gibson. Now the rain that you see here from Port Gibson through Fayette and Natchez, this is again the end of the line, the last line of stormy weather that will push through. Here in Jackson, or in the metro rather, while this is not the last line, it's not severe. And in areas north of I-20, you haven't seen any severe storms so far this afternoon, but you have seen some heavy rain, and that is certainly going to be impactful as people get ready to potentially head out for that evening commute. We've got 2 tornado warnings for storms that have rotation at this time. One of those includes southeastern parts of Jeff Davis County. That would be the Melba community along Highway 42. That's going to be one of the reasons that we continue this coverage for you. They are continuing this tornado warning, but they have excluded Brookhaven. So that continues to include Rockport, Tyrus, the NOLA community, Rosella. And this is going to go until 4:30 for Copiah, Lawrence, and parts of Lincoln counties. It is a radar indicated rotation. It's not as impressive as it was previously, but we will take a look at what it looks like for now. Still some heavy wind or gusty wind, regardless of whether there's rotation or not. This is really an impressive thunderstorm.
Yeah, this one's really been the one that's been a standout so far that we've been covering today. And I will tell you that even if we're not getting a tornado at this point, you're still measuring these intense winds, 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts right now. So if this is transitioning into a straight line storm, and that's a possibility, a straight line wind storm, that's a possibility. We've got some impressive winds here showing up with this storm cell as it's moving eastward across the area. So this is now in northern areas of Lincoln County. We're getting closer to Highway 27, Rockport to Rosella, including Oma. If you live in that area, this is a situation you want to take extremely seriously. You're under a tornado warning, so away from windows, lowest floor of wherever you're watching, okay, and get into an area where you can protect yourself from flying debris. Throw on a helmet too, or get one for the kids if you can. Get them in the bathtub. That's another idea too, because this is going to be a doozy of a storm pushing through here in the next 10 to 20 minutes, regardless of whether it's tornadic or not. But again, we do have a tornado warning in effect on this particular storm. Elise was measuring wind gusts over 90 miles per hour a short time ago. So this storm is moving 45, 50 miles per hour to the northeast. It's going to cross over you very quickly. Back up to the metro, I just want to show you what's going on with that storm that's over Jackson right now. It's moved very quickly into the east side of Ridgeland. We're over now by the Yacht Club here, back through the spillway. We're in northwest Rankin, over through about Flowood. There's heavy rain, also near Pearl, as well as Brandon. What is interesting about this particular storm is we'll watch it. It's technically not in the most unstable part of the storm system. We hardly had any sunshine, if any sunshine, in the metro today. So these storms just haven't had the same fuel, the same spark to tap into as they have had farther south. Around Highway 84 and 98, there's been plenty of sunshine today, and that is fueling a lot of these storms. But if you're in Rankin County right now, you're getting the worst of it. But what I want to point out is this is it. This back edge line here that is almost lined up with the Big Black River now, and then back through about Natchez, that front is going to be sweeping eastward across the area in the next hour or two. So as that front keeps moving east, I mean, that's really going to be about it. You're not going to have much more in the metro area beyond it. So once that front moves through, that's it. All bets are off. And so, you know, here we are at about 4:10, 4:11. We are still holding firm that we think by about 7 o'clock tonight, most of the area is going to be pretty much much done with as far as severe weather goes. Now, we do have a tornado watch in effect for most of the area. That's for the metro. That would go until 10 p.m. It's for southwest Mississippi until 8 p.m. And you could see that there's a sharp cutoff here, almost the Big Black River, and then going into northern Louisiana. And I would suspect that will add some counties, we'll delete some counties probably from this yellow shaded area here over the next hour as that front makes more inroads across Mississippi. And that really will shorten the window of time for any kind of thunderstorms to develop. Now, if we were sitting here at 4 o'clock and that front were all the way back here in Louisiana, I would be a lot more concerned, because that means the storms that could develop in central and south Mississippi, they could be what we call long track tornadoes. That just doesn't seem likely now. Not with the fact that the front is so close by, they're not going to have that same kind of ability. In fact, the other thing I'm noticing is the storm that is in Marion County looks like it's shunted a little more to the east. And I don't know if you want to back me up on that, Elise. I'm kind of throwing you into the fire there, but it looks like that there is a northward movement to a lot of these storms, but the boundary is here along I-20. All right, the cold front's here, and so this is your area where you're going to have thunderstorms developing, but the upper level winds are really strong, and they're obviously strong at the surface, but they're strong, so they're pushing in from the west, and that's why I'm thinking, hey, this thing's trying to lift north, but as it tries to lift north, it's going to get knocked east, and as it tries to lift north again, it'll get knocked east some more, so that probably is just going to clip.
And Dave, I want to say, or just let you know, so if you live in the Melba community, if you live in southeast Jefferson Davis County, they have confirmation of a tornado on the ground in the Columbia area. So that is the storm that's going to be pushing closer to you. We've got, they said, rotation or at least a funnel cloud from a sky cam from our sister station, WDAM, one of their first alert sky cams, and then of course, someone from WDAM is saying that they're watching that tornado on the ground. And again, that's the storm that's going to push into southeastern Jefferson Davis County. I'll put a track on that for you. Now, it may clip the area. It may, as Dave said, get knocked over to the east, and that could prevent it from even moving into your community. But I just want to let you know here how that is expected to move. If it makes it to Melba, 4:26 would be the time frame on that, 4:30 in Sumrall, 4:48 in Eminence, and we're going to continue to track it, of course, because that warning does include that part of Jefferson Davis County. And then, of course, we have this other warning that we're tracking for the Rosella area, for Rockport, and this one continues until 4:30. We've got 17 minutes left on that. Copiah, Lawrence, and Lincoln County. That's where you're going to be under that warning. And we've still got plenty more thunderstorms overhead. Now, we just stopped hearing the rain here in Jackson.
Got quiet again.
It did get quiet. I thought, well, I can hear myself think now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's interesting.
Are we alone? Yeah.
I'm confused. Right. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you know, they're saying now that their sky cam has gone down after seeing that tornado on the ground from that sky cam. We have not seen that from any of our first alert sky cams. Unfortunately, we don't have eyes in Brookhaven just yet, but our first alert storm tracker, I understand, is headed that way, attempting to track that storm, right, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. And Ashley, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you can, give us an idea. I'm going to put you on this. Don't need to go to you right now. Can you look into what we're doing on power outages? Maybe just kind of give us an idea how we're standing on that. Because with these gusty winds and some of these storms in parts of Lincoln County, I would not be surprised, right, that we could have some power outages out there across our area. So just one element that we could possibly add to our coverage here. But you could see that right now that storm continues to move quickly away from Brookhaven. Now, let me point something out. Brookhaven, you're not done. You still have this thunderstorm that's about to move right over you from the west. So another thunderstorm that's part of this same cluster is about to move over Brookhaven. So while you're out of the tornado warning, you're not in the clear by any means with this weather. So please, that you're still in that zone. We could see additional tornadoes developing in a very short period of time. But as we can tell you right now, the good news is, at least in our viewing area, we have not received any ground truth reports yet of damage. There we go again with the winds. This storm is just acting up. And
Let me get some of this off of here.
Right,
and
let's take some of
I'll
that off
get
and
the winds.
look at that. You've got a 98 mile per hour wind gust. That's the highest one you've measured so far today. It's the same storm. And now you're getting these 90 mile per hour winds that are about to blow across Highway 27. This is between Oma and Rosella. So this is where we are in eastern, really it's northwestern Lawrence County. Just to give you a perspective as to where we are. We're in the eastern part of Lincoln. We're in the northwestern part of Lawrence County. But we're talking about wind gusts now near 100 miles per hour. That is going to do some damage regardless of whether this is a tornado or not. These winds, and again, it's been one of these storms, right, that just keeps firing up, goes away for a little bit, at least in the intensity, and then comes roaring back to life here a few minutes later. And that's exactly what this storm is doing. So we're between Rockport, we're between Rosella, just so you can get your bearings straight here. And this is the Pearl River that you see meandering here. It's getting closer to the Pearl River, but we're around Highway 27. So we're on the west side of the Pearl River here. And this storm is about to sweep across 27 and move just west of New Hebron in the next 10 minutes or so. But this is an intense storm. You're looking at the wind scan right now on the radar, and this basically shows you where the most intense winds are located. So if we extrapolate this out, we're going to track this for you. This will put it into New Hebron at 4:29 and Gwynville by 4:35. This is a dangerous storm, all right? So this is a dangerous storm with 100 mile per hour wind gusts as it sweeps across Highway 27 and the Pearl River during the next 5 minutes. I'm just looking here at the updates that you are. They're continuing the tornado warning for the southeastern corner of Jefferson Davis County until 5 p.m. So that warning is going to continue. But we're going to have to keep a very close eye on this storm, regardless of whether it's tornadic or not. Those are some very serious winds that are coming out of that storm right now. This is the view again on that storm outside Columbia, where you said there was confirmation of a tornado on the ground.
Yeah, Dave, three people confirming that there was a tornado on the ground there, and the new update from the National Weather Service as they continue that tornado warning, because this is also a warned storm, saying that it will be in or near the Melba community if that is the direction that it tracks by about 4:20. That is very soon. That only gives you a few minutes, and of course, keep in mind that a radar scan is a few minutes delayed. So it takes time for the radar to scan the entirety of our atmosphere. So anytime that we show you a scan, it's a little bit delayed. So you want to be even more ahead of that storm. If you are in the Melba community, if you're anywhere in southeastern Jefferson Davis County, just make sure you're in your tornado safe place. The reason this is outlined in white is because it is a confirmed tornado on the ground. And we're still seeing some very impressive winds come out of this other storm. It's tracking along Highway 27. It looks like things are going to be dying down for you along Highway 27 in the next few minutes, at least as far as those damaging wind gusts are concerned. These are, it seems like, straight line winds potentially on the outside of that storm as it pushes into your area. There was some indication of rotation earlier on. It's relatively broad, but they're going to continue this warning now.
Oh, we have a new tornado warning, I see, going into effect. All right, so we have a new tornado warning now, a new tornado warning for Simpson County. This is for Simpson County, and this is going to incorporate several larger communities in Simpson County until 5:15 this evening. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located now over Oma. So we're going with that as a tornadic cell. All right, just so you know, that's 13 miles north of Monticello, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Radar indicating rotation. This tornado will be near New Hebron, Pinola, Shivers, Sanatorium, and Mendenhall, along with McGee. All right, so this is a dangerous situation right now playing out across that area. Simpson County, Mendenhall, McGee are included in this tornado warning, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. We have arrival times on your screen. 4:36 Pinola, 4:42 Merritt, Mendenhall 4:46, McGee 4:50, Maddox 4:55, and if it extends outside of this warning, it'll make it to Mize just after 5 o'clock, but Mize are not under a tornado warning right now. But this is a new tornado warning that has just been issued until 5:15 this evening. This will include Simpson County, northeastern Lawrence, and south central Mississippi, and northwestern Jefferson Davis as well. So these are where our tornado tornado warnings are. And if we can, let's push in, if you don't mind, over Simpson County again. I just want to alert everybody in Simpson County, Upton, Martinville, McGee, through Mount Olive, back through Mendenhall, Pinola, Shivers, and New Hebron in Lawrence County, you are included in this tornado warning. So it is a Doppler indicated tornado that is near the Oma community and moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. You have a little time. Winds are something else, aren't they?
Absolutely.
I mean, we keep saying this pronounced signature here, and it's like 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off. That's the thing it's playing. Can I get you to hit the wind scan on it, if you don't mind? Let's see what we can get on that. But I bet you we're going to pick up some. There we go again. We're back to close to 100 mile per hour winds, and we're seeing that now, 80, 90 plus mile per hour winds, 72. I think the highest you've measured so far today is 98, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, yeah.
And it seems like this is where
Wow.
That is serious. I don't know that since we've been doing this, Elise, together, I don't know that we've seen that before. 132 mile per hour wind gusts. So this is a very dangerous storm now.
It is. And note now, this may not reach, those winds at that speed may not be reaching all the way to the ground, but winds at 132 miles an hour, a little ways up in the atmosphere, translated down to the ground, will still be very damaging wind gusts. And this is, of course, where you're under a tornado warning, and that would be the reason why. As this rotation continues, it is relatively broad, but it's impressive, right? Where you're seeing...
That's an EF2. That's an EF2.
Absolutely.
So when you start playing around with the 130s and you go above 135, that's where you're going to be in EF3 territory, assuming this is a tornado.
And we seem to be getting somewhat of a little hook again from this now as it continues that rotation.
Absolutely. So a very dangerous situation right now. Please, everyone, take this extremely seriously. Just monitoring what's going on with this storm. It's crossed over 27 now. It's continuing to move more into the extreme northwest corner of Lawrence County. It's about to be in southern Simpson County. And again, a very dangerous situation that it's going on right now. So please, when we don't see that very often here, okay? When you see 132 mile per hour wind gusts, now keep in mind, we're up in the atmosphere, all right? And as Elise said, to her credit, it's not exactly meaning it's reaching the ground, but we know there are some very serious winds in this area, and they are going somewhere, and they're definitely working their way down to the surface at some point. Right now, we've got about 8,000, 7,200 people, but you're still, look at the winds you're still picking up there, 117 mile, 127. All right, so this is some serious stuff here. 111.
Consistently over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, these are 100 mile per hour winds that are closing in on Shivers, New Hebron, and Pinola. So if I could direct our storm tracker to probably start moving probably in this direction or heading eastward towards Simpson County to try to get closer to the storm to the extent that we can cover it a little bit better from that vantage point. This is going to cause a lot of problems in New Hebron. Now, I remember a few years ago, and you probably do too if you live in New Hebron, we had a fluke storm pop up one day and just worked its way right across New Hebron and caused a tremendous amount of damage. And it had very strong winds like that. And a lot of folks felt it was a tornado. It was actually straight line wind damage because it did the equivalent in damage that you would experience from a tornado. So regardless of whether this is a tornado or not, when you're talking about 100 plus mile per hour winds, you're going to have some damage, most likely. And when we're seeing 130, 110, 120, you get the idea as to what we're dealing with out here. So these winds are cycling up, they're cycling down. We're going to continue to see that. That's kind of how these storms evolve. This storm is in the sweet spot, so to speak. It's tapping into the warm sunshine that's been going on across much of the southern part of the state. That moisture is becoming bubbly and unstable in the atmosphere. And so you've got another tornadic signature that's just about to cross into the southeastern corner of Jefferson Davis County. This one here is near the improved community, and it's headed more towards Melba, which it was Melba. I think it was Melba just had the tornado, a week ago, maybe give or take a few days. Give me some grace on that, but it was a tornado that moved through there. This is the actual thunderstorm cell right now that is just outside of Melba. But this is going to be crossing Highway 42 very soon in about the next 10 minutes or so, and you're going to have a tornado which has been observed by at least 3 folks, and probably more than that. This is an observed tornado that is right now about to move into the southeastern corner of Jefferson Davis County. An observed tornado. 1,800 people are under this tornado warning. This goes until 5 p.m. this afternoon. The one that's for Simpson County, and if I have this correct, please correct me if I'm wrong. Simpson County, is that going to go until 5:15 or 5:30 on that, Elise?
That's going to go until, I believe it is 5:15. And that's still just a radar indicated storm. I will take you back here, Dave. You asked about power outages earlier. And we've got 6,000 people in Franklin County without power right now, 5,000 in Wilkinson County. And that's where you saw those severe thunderstorms push through earlier this evening. Now in
I got to believe that's most of
County,
the population, though, in those counties. You know, in the counties you just mentioned, that's probably a majority of the customers.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, 500.
Okay.
I'm reading the wrong number there.
Okay.
That I'm reading how many people are tracked in the county.
Okay.
500 without power there, 486 without power in Amite County, 218 in Wilkinson County. So we've got right now 2,200 people in the state of Mississippi without power.
All right, so we have on the board for you, this is the radar that you're looking at here. We've got the red boxes which indicate tornado warnings. Why does that one red box have white around it? Because it's an observed tornado. It's confirmed on the ground. That is about to clip the southeastern corner of Jefferson Davis County. But what I want to point out, come on back to me here if you will in front of the monitor. I want to show this to you real quickly. This is the back edge of the weather. This is it, all right? So once we get rid of this, that's it. This all goes away. And so I'm going to tell you this. If you live in Belzona, if you live in Rolling Fork, if you live in Vicksburg, and if you live in Natchez, that's it. The severe weather threat has now ended for you. All right? I just want you to know. Now, it may still be raining where you are, but as far as any tornadic issues in Natchez, nope, not going to happen. Vicksburg, it's not going to happen. Belzona and Rolling Fork, it is not going to happen for you either. But unfortunately, anywhere east of this front, that's where you're going to have thunderstorms flaring up, and the potential is highest south and east from the metro. The more south you get, the more eastward you get, the higher your chances are. So we start talking about places like the Pine Belt or over towards Meridian or our southernmost counties. That's where you're going to have some issues. Curious, can we show that map again? Because I noticed something. They've taken out the northeastern parishes of Louisiana.
That's what I was looking at.
Right, so we're starting to see the tornado watch is getting cut up a little bit, and that's good news. So that indicates that the tornadic threat is dying down. But we still have this tornado watch for Metro Jackson south and eastward until 10, and for southwest Mississippi until 8 o'clock this evening. So again, we are watching a couple of tornadoes. Let's go back to southeastern Jefferson Davis County because that's where the storm right now is literally about to move over Melba. And you can see there it is. The storm is just about to cross Highway 42, and it's going to be near Morris and Melba. They're in tandem on the road pretty much. If you're ever on Highway 42 here, you've got the communities of Melba and Morris, small communities, and you've got Carson a little bit farther up the road. But the bottom line is this is where the storm is going, and it was very close to Melba. It just looks like it crossed 42 now. And that's a good thing for folks in Melba. But the actual core circulation's lagging right there. So we think it's going to go right across the highway very soon. And it does appear they've just narrowed the tornado warning a little bit more. But the community of Melba is still in this tornado warning. But you go a little bit farther up and you get into maybe say, let's say, around Morris or Carson, you're not under a tornado warning, and that's certainly some good news. But again, the southeastern corner of Jefferson Davis County, that's where the circulation is about to cross on East Graves Road. And this is eerily close to where we literally just had the tornado about a week ago. So this area just had a tornado go across the area about 10 days ago, 7 days ago, right? It was about the end of the January. They kind of all blend together at this point.
I think it was that event at the end of January.
So about 10 days ago.
A confirmed tornado, yeah.
And it was only on the ground for 2 minutes, but it was on the ground nonetheless, did some damage, and it seems like we're finding ourselves back in the same place once again. So it was very close there to the Melba area. So if you're in this area, take cover, please, in southeastern Jefferson Davis County. You only need to do it for another 10 minutes. Just take cover as this storm moves overhead and moves across your area. All of these storms are moving very quickly. They're all moving 45 to 50 miles per hour. Let's
Oh,
go
Lord.
back. Yeah, let's go back now to Simpson County because the winds are starting to pick up again. I just want to give you a perspective. This is McGee. This is Mendenhall behind our banner up here. It's there. We've got Martinville as well. And the actual storm is by Panola and by the Fish House and Shivers. So this thing's going to be moving eastward, getting close to Gwinnville very soon. But we're getting this very distorted signal on the radar, and that's indicating high-end winds. And, you know, there may be a brief spin up in here, but I'm telling you that looks like a straight line wind pattern at this point, but I would not want to play with it. So I will tell you right now, treat it as a tornado for sure.
Absolutely.
It is a tornado warning. This is going to cut across Highway 13 in the next few minutes, but regardless, these are damaging winds, and these are significant winds at that. I'm going to let you measure them. I know it looks like you're about to hit them with the little scan just to kind of see what winds we're getting. We're still getting close to 100 mile per hour winds from this scan. And again, we could be off a little bit. They could be higher. So understand that we're looking at a serious situation here that's about to cross Highway 13, alerting you folks in McGee. This cell looks like it's sweeping towards McGee. And so I don't know how much time, maybe 10 to 20 minutes before it reaches McGee, but please take this seriously. We've got McGee, we've got Mendenhall right in this area, and that's where the new tornado warning has now been posted. They've deleted it back a little. They've cut back some other portions of it, but that's where the actual cell is located, and it's going to be near McGee at 448 to 450, Maddox at about 457. But you can see this is an area, it's a large swath from Pinola south or through Shivers that is moving northeastward, and it's just barely clipping Mendenhall at this point. You know, Mendenhall, you had those rough storms, what, a month ago? Not even, a little bit over a month ago. And looks like you could be dealing with some strong winds again from this particular storm. So you've got the McGee Airport just west of town. You've got the Walmart, the big super Walmart there in town on 49. And these are the areas that are going to be impacted by this tornado very soon. So the storm is moving your way in McGee. Please take cover at this time. You still have time to do it. So I would tell you to take this time to do it because it doesn't look like you're going to have that much time until the storm arrives. These storms have been moving so quickly. They're moving about a mile every minute to 90 seconds. That's how fast these storms are moving. So a dangerous situation. 7,300 people right now are under a tornado warning currently for this area. So 7,300 people are under a tornado warning.
Yeah, and that's Jeff Davis, Lawrence, and Simpson counties. It just clips the northern part of Jefferson Davis County, and you also still have a tornado warning ongoing in southeastern Jefferson Davis County. That is just about to clear out. It is past the Melba community now, but still moving along McVeigh Road, right into Deer Miller Road. And I apologize, the letters are so small here, so hard to read on this. And the more you zoom, they stay the same size.
Well, good. That gives me a
Miller Lane.
You know what? That gives me an excuse to make the letters bigger. I can't blame myself for it. I'm doing it for you, not for me.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it for me.
Absolutely.
So we've got, of course, this other tornado warning, and again, that's where you have included northern Jefferson Davis County, Lawrence County, Simpson County, and that's for a large portion of Simpson County, including Mendenhall, including McGee, and that is where it's headed right this moment. We have been tracking really impressive winds with this storm from all the way back in Brookhaven to now nearing McGee, and it's still reading what looks to me like it would read 100-mile-an-hour winds with this storm. So they're continuing this tornado warning. They've canceled now the warning that included Melba. So you guys are all in the clear now.
That's good news. We still see the circulation, but it's virtually out of the county just about. Mm-hmm.
So good news for you. You're in the clear there for the moment. Now note, these storms stretch far to the south, and you will likely still see some stormy weather. It may not be severe when it gets to you, but you do expect to see 2 more rounds of stormy weather, actually. This is the line that we're watching that has the embedded potential tornado that includes McGee, and that stormy weather stretches through Brookhaven, down through Macomb, through Kentwood, Louisiana, but there is the final round of storms that is just to the east of Natchez now. Still a little bit of heavy rain, but that's right along the Mississippi River up to Vicksburg, and then it moves past the Mississippi River along the I-55 corridor. So if you're in the metro area, you're getting what's going to be the last of the weather for the next little bit. It is still very hefty weather. There are still some gusty winds, but they're not strong enough to be severe winds. But this is certainly severe. We're still tracking winds up to 50, 60, even 100 miles an hour with the storm. And look how they have, so the yellow colors are what have read as 100-mile-an-hour winds. And you can see how it cycles. Dave was talking about that earlier. It goes down, it comes back up, and then it goes back down. And so it's in a down cycle right now, but it's moving right towards McGee, and we do expect to see potentially some damage from this storm.
Can we go back to regular radar for just about the whole area? So I just want to reset so everybody kind of understands what we're looking at here together. So this is the back edge. Come on back to me if you don't mind. This is the back edge of the weather right here. This is it. And that's where the front is. So Natchez, Vicksburg, to about Yazoo City. Anywhere north and west of that line, that's it. The severe threat's over with. This is the actual front that is going to end it all. It's going to pretty much push everything out very quickly. I don't see severe storms in this particular line, in the actual front itself. However, that's not what this system has been about. This system has been about these clusters of storms that have been forming out in advance in that warmer air mass. And as I've been saying, I said this yesterday, I said it the day before, the most intense weather will continue to be south and east of the metro. Why? Because this is where we've had sunshine today. This is where we've had the most amount of instability build up today. It's far enough inland, and there's been enough instability that that's where things are cooking, and that's where the atmosphere is ripe for getting severe weather. As this front continues to move eastward, and let's just say US 61 is the boundary now. As it moves eastward, it ends that threat. Now, don't get me wrong. It's currently in Lexington where you're getting heavy rain. Kosciuszko, you're going to get that eventually. Then in Madison County, we've got the heavy rain moving through right now too. But that's going to continue for about another half hour until the front sweeps across your area. The way things are going, though, the window is closing. So Metro Jackson, I would say it's 4:30 now. I don't know that we're going to have much more of a severe threat after 5:30, 6 o'clock in the metro. I think at that point, the back edge of this is going to move through. There's still going to be a few bouts of heavy rain, don't get me wrong, but as far as the core of the worst weather, it appears that it keeps popping in the same areas, and that's near Highway 84, 98, around I-55 and eastward. So that kind of narrows us down a little bit into this general area. So the farther south, the farther east you are, you're going to have a few more hours of this weather. Let's just say 3 hours probably. Does that sound fair to you, Elise?
Yeah, I would say that sounds fair. And that's what we were tracking earlier, the severe threat from 2 this afternoon to about 8 o'clock tonight. And, 3 hours, that's 4:30. Some of you, of course, are done with the severe threat much earlier. You're already done with it in Belzona and Rolling Fork. Almost, well, I would include Yazoo City in that. In Vicksburg, you're done with the severe weather threat. But, yeah, at around 7 or 8 o'clock, between 7 and 8 o'clock, expecting to see the back end of that system push out, and then calmer conditions. Still going to be windy into tomorrow, but we're not going to have to deal with any stormy weather for at least a couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, take a closer look here at what's happening in Simpson County. Let's go back into Simpson because I want to focus on what's happening with this particular line of storms. Now, you're in the heavy rain in Mendenhall, but the actual tornadic part of this cell, or the highest wind damage potential part of the cell, is just south of town. And it really extends along Highway 13, and that's moving more towards McGee. So I will tell you, the way this storm is oriented, it is leaning more towards McGee as far as the severe element goes. But don't get me wrong, if you're in Mendenhall, you're obviously saying, whoa, what are you talking about? It's really, really bad here. Well, yes, it's still going to be bad, but I'm just telling you where the wind damage potential is on this cell. This is where we're tracking it. So it's already farther down 49 from you in Mendenhall. It's actually past Delo here, and this is going to continue to work its way closer to McGee from the south and west over the next 10 to 20 minutes. Then it will clear McGee, and we'll have a clearer picture as to what's going on. But if you're in McGee, please take cover at this point in time. You could have damaging winds, to say the least, a tornado. Also, that's why a tornado warning is in effect until 5:15 for most of Simpson County right now, as these storms are showing the most intensity right here along Highway 13, east of Shivers, east of Pinola, but but now we're getting closer into the McGee community.
Yeah, so we're still tracking this this system as it continues on. Heavy rain if falling in those areas. We don't really have many updates from the National Weather Service right now. While there's not rotation with this storm that's has the tornado warning on it, at least not a tight, very easy to identify rotation. There are winds that are moving toward and away from the radar, and that's where we see the red and the green. And there are multiple areas where they meet up, but it looks now kind of like a line pushing through. But there are areas where the winds are stronger versus where they are not as strong. And where you're behind that line, even though you're still in the warning, you're actually really done with the severe threat. So Panola, Shivers, New Hebron, Rockport, Oma, you're not in this warning, but you have been in multiple through the day today. So I will let you know that while it's pouring rain on you and likely you're hearing some thunder, there's a lot of lightning with this storm. It is not necessarily, you're not in the severe threat at this time. So let's take a look at all the lightning we got going on here. And this goes even for you in Mendenhall. In McGee, you've already got lightning ahead of the storm. Heavy downpours headed your way along with potential wind damage. Many of you still hearing thunder, seeing lightning. There is a really strong storm pushing into southern parts of the area, southwestern Mississippi. That's that line of storms. It's not going to catch you in Natchez, but in Woodville, heads up, in Centerville, heads up. You're going to get some really heavy rain, a lot of lightning, very similar to what you're dealing with in Mendenhall, in New Hebron, in Rockport, in Monticello. That stretches all the way up through Forest, even past Forest into Philadelphia. And that is just one of the lines of storms that we are tracking. The final line is just about to push into the metro. It is quiet here in Jackson for the moment, but just south of here, Byram and Florence, you've got heavy, heavy downpours. Same story just north of here, Lake Caroline, Flora, Bolton, heavy downpours, thunder to go along with it. And I'll point out again, it's windy out there. And that is why we also declared a first alert weather day for you. So even outside of the severe storms, we've got winds gusting up to 35, 40 miles an hour in Monticello, 37 in Brookhaven, and you're not under any kind of warning at this time, not a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning. But it is rainy and it is windy and it is noisy and it is all of the things on this first alert weather day. So that's what we've been dealing with today, all of the things. And they are continuing this tornado warning, but they have trimmed a few people out. So again, Pinola, Shivers, New Hebron, you've been trimmed out of the tornado warning now because the severe threat for that storm has shifted to the east of you. And we'll take another look here at the winds as they continue to cycle in and out of being just outstanding as far as gusts are concerned, where we were reading upwards of 100 miles an hour here just a little while ago. I'm not seeing anything that looks like that, but we will take a look at what you might be seeing as this line pushes towards McGee. It's almost there if you're in McGee. So heads up and stay in your safe place for now.